the president of Sony went on record a few days before our album charted #1. He said, if you are an independent artist, you do not exist. That was his quote. So I get interviewed, and they were like, hey, the president of Sony said that if you're an independent artist, then you don't exist. They said, what would you say to him? I said, well, I guess I'd say, well, sir, my name's Darren Watson, and I'm an independent artist, and I got the #1 record in all of country music this week.
Yeah.
So I guess I exist.
So I guess I exist.
So tell us about Shotwell. Then.
Okay, so yesterday I went and picked my dad up. They live in a little farmhouse a couple miles from us, and so I always get to see my parents, which is nice. And anytime I can get Dad out of the house, my mom is very grateful.
Right.
And so we had to run to town because my weed
I know
eater.
this is where we're starting.
This is where
run to town.
We had to run to town.
Have you ever said we're going to run to town?
Run to town in a wagon.
We had to run to town. We had to run to town. I said, Daddy, get in the wagon. So anyways, this all goes back to this last week. I tell my boys to go out there and weed eat this fence line. It's getting good. Weed eating a fence line.
Fence line. Okay, got it.
Foreign to him.
Yes.
They walk in. They walk in with the weed eater. And I said, what are y'all doing? They're like, I don't know, something's wrong with it. And I was like, yeah, something's wrong with it. Looks like you busted the trigger. We didn't do that. I said, one of y'all didn't take a hammer and just bust the trigger off that?
Can't do it. It's broken.
Hey, bust that trigger.
Yeah.
So we had to go into town and get some things fixed. And I missed my turn, so I got off the loop there, and there's Shotwell Stadium. And I said, Dad, how old is Shotwell? He said, I don't know, probably from the 50s. And he said, I remember, my dad grew up in Midland. He said, I remember in 1963, he said, we went up there to watch Midland High play Abilene High. He goes, we came back, and we scored a touchdown. He goes, with just like a minute left. He goes, and while we kicked off, they had an all-state track star named Rusty Harris. And he kicked it. They said, we kicked it. Rusty ran it all the way back to win the game. And I said, how in the world can you remember some kid's name from 1963? So I look it up. Sure enough.
Oh, yeah.
All-state, like running back, Rusty Harris. And here my dad's 100% disabled from serving in Vietnam, and he's got some brain damage and stuff. I mean, you wouldn't know he's sharp as a tack, but he can't remember. He's always forgetting stuff. And then he starts pulling out stats.
Rusty Harris.
Football is religion out there, man.
Man, it
You don't
is.
forget that stuff.
It is. It's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shotwell Stadium.
We're just gonna you boys.
Yeah, I was gonna
leave.
say
We're just gonna talk Abilene for the next
Yeah,
hour.
we'll just talk about Abilene.
So how big is Shotwell State? I mean, how many what does it hold?
Well, what does it hold, or what has it held before? It's two different questions. What does it say it holds?
Yeah, what does it
I think
say
it's
it holds?
18 or 20.
So what has it held, like 10?
So the crosstown rivalry back in the day was Abilene High versus Cooper, and we would fit every bit of 23,000 people.
It's the biggest crowd you've ever. You know what?
No, that wasn't the biggest.
Did you ever play it again?
We played another high school game at your old house, the Cowboys Stadium.
Yeah.
Filled up the entire lower bowl, and then
that was the next game. That was South Lake and Allen were
right.
playing the next game.
No,
So I'm just saying.
the fans just got there a little bit early.
Actually, it was South Lake versus Abilene High. Yeah.
Where's Abilene High?
Yeah, I think the final attendance was 36,000. So that was
biggest
big.
crowd. I mean, so you played for.
That's a high school game, though. What did you play in front of? 10?
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving you some love here, but that's even
I'm
better
gonna be
than
defensive here.
Abilene. You went to college at Abilene.
The question though, so then you played at Abilene. Sorry, Aaron, and we're gonna make the official introduction here in a second. But playing at Abilene Christian.
Well, that's the funny thing is we played in the same stadium. I don't know if you ever went to an ACU game.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing that was bad for ACU back in the day is that Abilene High'd play there, and the place would be packed.
That's where I was going. Yep.
AC would play there, and it was crickets.
Wow.
I went from packed stadium in high school to playing in front of 8,000 people, maybe.
Yeah.
In college, which is why a lot of people end up quitting or moving on or doing something that's like, this is worse than high school. What am I doing here? So now they built a stadium on campus. It's a much more intimate feel. So it's a better
It's a better vibe now. It didn't have a good vibe.
No, it's just way too big of a stadium for that college game. So
So anyways, so thank you all for
that sexy voice you hear is not us three.
No. So we're here with I'm really excited about this. We're here with Aaron Watson, country music singer and absolute legend in the Klutz household, at least. So you got that going for you. But Aaron, if any of you are not familiar with who he is, climb out of the rock that you're living under, and just listen to any country music, and his songs will come up. And we're just really excited. Darren's going to actually run through his favorite 15 songs of yours, and then he's going to actually perform them for you after we get off the air. We just wouldn't do that to our guests. But
look, I'm gonna open it up. Let's be real, right? Because we're transparent on this show, right? So I'm not much of a country music singer, right? So
not a singer for sure. For sure, that's for sure.
You know, though, we could. Hey, but you could be.
I could be. I have potential.
You got potential.
I have potential.
You got potential
because I love music, right?
Yep.
So
I think your name needs to be Lil Aaron Watson for him.
My aunt calls me Baby A.
There we go.
I like that.
There
Baby
we go.
A.
Now Darren's listening.
He's intrigued.
I'll listen to Baby A. He's all right.
He's all right.
But I know Tyler and Ben were both, before we got you on the show, man, they were like, oh, man, this is it. And I'm sure Tiffany, Tyler's wife, was saying the same thing. Oh, my God, I can't. There's a reason. Tiffany's never been to a show. She's never come over to watch us do a podcast, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Ever.
Mama's here tonight.
For some reason.
Mama's here tonight.
She shows up today. Tyler, you might be worried.
She shows up today. Huh. This is interesting, isn't it?
You know, I mean, when you got this big, look at this bull here. You know? Look at this.
See, unlike you though, I was the soft bull that I just grazed a lot. Just grazed. I'd hide under the trees. You have to come get me every once in a while, but
I was snarling.
But yeah, so today, and Aaron, with this show, we really love just telling the story. And you are as good as anyone in the music industry at telling a story with your music. I mean, I know Fence Post is still one of my all-time favorite songs, just because how you relate it, and then Underdog is another one too. Like I forced my kids, and my wife's over there, I forced my kids for when that came out, for the first 3 months, just we're playing that on repeat. Look, these are lessons in this song that y'all need to hear. But we want to tell your story, and we want to hear, growing up in Lubbock and then going to school down in Abilene, and now you're in that area, as you guys all heard coming on. But let's go back to the point where, okay, hey, I'm transitioning from, you're a baseball player in high school, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then what's next? Like what is Aaron gonna do? Were you already playing music at that point? What was,
I mean, and I grew up in Amarillo, which Amarillo, Lubbock,
Sorry,
they're hey,
that's what
it's
I meant.
the same. It's kind of the same.
Did you go to school?
They're just one pasture away.
Californians,
It's a big pasture.
But for me, baseball, probably like it was for you guys, sports was for you guys. It was something I could dream about, and it was also something that I could share with my dad. I mean, when I was, a teenager and being stubborn, baseball was always something that Dad and I could wave our white flags, and we could go play ball.
Common interest.
It was a common interest, and I think because, and I played other sports growing up, but I think because my dad's passion for baseball and just his loyalty to baseball, I just always chose baseball because it was just always something he and I that we had. And, when I went to New Mexico Junior College, I quickly realized that, oh, wow, I was a good ball player. I was fundamentally sound because I had a good dad that worked with me all the time. I mean, I could go out there now and I can make plays just because I understand the game.
Right.
But I started getting out there on the field with guys that didn't have to work hard, and they were just that much better.
Naturally gifted
athletes. I mean, you go from 5'10", 170 pounds to, you've got a kid playing my position that's 6'4", 225.
Right.
And it was just a difference. There was just a big difference. And then I started realizing, okay, but where one door closes, another one opens. Mm-hmm. And I've always loved music. I love all kinds of music. I love everything. I mean, I literally love everything. I got grounded for about a year when I got caught with Dre's album, The Chronic.
The Chronic was a classic, brother.
Hey,
now we're talking.
Your bark was loud, but your bite wasn't vicious. And the rhymes you was kicking was quite bootylicious. You get what doggy dog? Oh, is he crazy? I don't even know what it means. But I got grounded for a year for it. Pretty sure it was the next track.
See, Darren, you had him in this box on the way up here.
Oh, I'm listening to every track.
Baby A, Big D.
Yes,
That's right.
We're in, brother. We're in.
So I love music. I've always really been infatuated with the lyrics. Like, I can read any artist's lyrics and go, ooh, man, they're going through some stuff right now. Mm-hmm. I've always been infatuated with that side of the art. And I think for me, I needed that dream. I needed something that I could dream about. So it was like music became the dream. And, to make a long story short, every country boy that plays country music loves George Strait. Mm-hmm. And when I went to Nashville, I mean, I had every door slammed in my face. Mm. And not just slammed, but like, you'll never be good enough slam. I mean, it's like, it was pretty rough. I've thought back to some of the things that was said to me back then, and I thought, that just wasn't very kind. Mm-hmm. Like if I was in that position, if I was the head of a label, right, I would have told that kid, hey, you're not what we're looking for right now. Mm-hmm. Right. Go home, keep practicing, and you know what? You never know. Yeah, that's what they should have said to me. But I remember I went home pretty defeated. And my dad was like, listen, that's what those idiots told Willie Nelson for years. Don't listen to them. He said, you don't need them. He said, you stay here in Texas, you make your music, you grow your business. And so we did. And, we just started, I put out a record about every 18 months to 2 years. And we were touring all the time and just started growing,
and was that all independent? So all on your own dime. So booking your own shows, everything, doing all of your own. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And just being a businessman. Yeah. Right. I didn't know I was, but really being a hustler. Yeah. Right. Like it's no different. It is no different than when I was growing up and I had a lawn mowing business. Right. And I tell this to kids: if you want to work, if you want to make money, you can. I had this little rig where I could strap the gas can to the push mower and I'd go up and down the block. And if I saw a yard that looked like it needed a little love, I'd knock on that door and I'd ask them, what would you pay me? And, it didn't matter if it was $15 or whatever. I'd be like, okay, it's $15 more. That's right. And I mean, my dad bought the mower and the gas, so it was just all profit. Yeah. Right. All profit.
Tax free too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Cash. All about that cash. But what happened is, next thing I knew, we had built this business where we played in like, I think 42 states and 11 countries. Wow. And then all of a sudden we put out this album called Real Good Time. And I remember I got a phone call from my manager and he was like, dude, we just charted an album top 10 independently, nationwide. And I was like, wow. We got to talking after that. I said, if we accidentally charted a top 10, what if we really tried? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's where we put out The Underdog. And it made history. It was the first independent album in the history of country music to chart number one.
Explain that. Explain independent for those artists that are upcoming.
Yeah.
Explain an independent artist.
I am an independent artist is someone like right now, if you turn on country radio, mainstream radio, every artist that you hear is signed to a major record deal. Those stations will not play artists that are independent because they're not part of the machine. They're the labels. I mean, it's a bit of a dictatorship. I mean, they completely control the situation. I always say, God could give you the greatest song in the world. It could be perfect in every way. And those mainstream stations wouldn't play it unless you first signed a record deal. That's just...
And is it true that, I mean, you've almost got a lobby, and so even the radio, the media heads that own the radio stations, they've also got to, there's a political game there as well getting in, right? So if you're like, and I'll just throw out another one, Chase Rice is one that has not necessarily played the game as much. Maybe he has recently. I've known him for a while.
I know Chase too.
Yeah,
great dude, man.
Yeah, and he's real. I mean, he shoots it straight. But he's like, man, I don't have the energy. I just want to play some music. I don't have the energy to go play that game. Is that as well, or is that tied to the label deal?
You know, Chase is a very unique situation with, he's been able to do his thing, but also he's had such big crossover hits. With like Florida Georgia Line and stuff, that it's given him a lot of lobbying power. But he has definitely had roadblocks because he hasn't been part of that big system. And that's kind of what happened with us is we had the underdog. It went number 1, and I thought, man, let's keep throwing punches. And we built a small label that I owned, and called Big Label Records, because I thought, when people always like, have you signed to a big label? Are you? I'm like, yes.
Yes, I have.
How big is it? Well, it's
called Big Label Records.
At the post office in Abilene. We didn't get the big box, but we didn't get the small one. It's kind of the one right in between. So it's, it's kind of big label. But we put out this record, Vaquero. And Vaquero did amazing things for us, and we had 2 top 40 hits, and one of them was a top 10 hit, and which is just crazy because we kind of snuck in the back door on mainstream radio, and I don't have any animosity towards major labels or mainstream radio. I kind of, a lot of when I put out a song, there's a lot of program directors at these radio stations that I'm friends with, and I'll say, hey, here's my song, but you cannot play it. You are not allowed to play it. So just know you can't play it.
Just tease them.
Yeah, because I know they can't.
Right. Yeah.
Like, even though they'd like to play it, they call them program directors, but at the end of the day, they're playing what the man up in New York City is saying play. But I give them a hard time. I'm like, here's the new song. It's amazing. But don't you play this song. You don't have clearance. I'm not, so, but, we've had so many things like that. It's just been such a blessing. The song, my song Out of Style, I won this BMI award where they give out for the most played song of the year. And I remember they gave out 40 of those awards. And when they would give out an award, there would be the artist, all the songwriters, all the people from their record label, all the people from their publishing company. Everyone would go up on stage. There'd be 30, 40 people up there. And when they called my name, I was up there by myself. And the president of BMI was like, you're the only 100%er that I know. And I said, what does that mean? He goes, well, you wrote it by yourself. You produced the album. You own the album. You published the album. So it was one of those things where that was an honor, winning that. But the best honor was afterwards. I had several young artists that were independent come up to me afterwards, and they said, hey, thank you, because you just showed us that we can achieve our dream without having to go that major label route. really it applies to all things. I mean, it's about growing your brand. Y'all are growing your brand right now.
Right.
And that's really what it's about. It's about growing the brand, believing in yourself, working hard. So
I love that overview, but I want to go back a little bit.
Okay.
You talked about, and sorry, Tyler, if this is where you were headed, you talked about transitioning from your playing days and then you went to Nashville. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I'm more interested in hearing about the doors you were talking about closing in your face. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, the one thing that's great about baseball is everyone's heard this analogy, a Hall of Fame hitter fails 70% of the time. And it's one of those things that it's like when I tell my boys, I'm like, if one of them gets the game-winning hit, on the way home, I'm pumped up, I'm fired up for them, and I'm gonna say, man, enjoy this feeling, enjoy this. You worked hard. I said, but understand, we're gonna have some car rides home where you struck out. And I said, just understand, you relish, enjoy this moment, but also understand that this isn't. It's like the boys have of course, I've brainwashed them into loving certain players, and of course they've, one of them has just, Jordan stuff all over the place because I love so many of his quotes and stuff, and I mean, but Jordan has a quote talking about how many game-winning shots he made versus how many he missed. And you're like, whoa, they don't show the misses.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I remember, so many different situations. I mean, he was talking about the song Fence Post. Like, I never talk about the guy's name because I don't really want to run him down. But the guy, he wasn't that kind. And I mean, I've heard he kind of has that reputation. But, I sang him a song, and, he just, I remember just being like, his response to me, I remember thinking, golly, have I done something to this guy?
Yeah.
And, what was great is years later when the Underdog went number one, it was during Nashville has this big CRS week, country radio seminar, where all the radio stations go to Nashville and all the labels are trying to promote all their new upcoming artists and this and that. And the president of Sony went on record a few days before our album charted number one. He said, if you are an independent artist, you do not exist. That was his quote. So I get interviewed, and they were like, hey, the president of Sony said that if you're an independent artist, then you don't exist. They said, what would you say to him? I said, well, I guess I'd say, well, sir, my name's Darren Watson, and I'm an independent artist, and I got the number one record in all of country music this week. So I guess I exist. And, and that thing went viral. I mean, my quote got published in the paper in London. Was it the Guardian?
Yeah.
Whatever that is. I don't often read the London paper.
Hello,
I do not read the London paper. Hello. Yeah, but it's like if people are like, you got a pretty good British accent. I was like, no, that's just my Harry Potter. Harry. But it's just one of those things where, and that guy ended up losing his job apparently because of that quote, and because he caught a lot of flack over it. But you know what, man, it's a tough world we live in. Yeah. It's always been a tough world we live in. I mean, we think about like, oh gosh, these are hard times. These are hard times. One of the problems is now anytime there's anything that's difficult, it's immediately on your phone.
Yeah.
And you're like, well,
Just aware of it.
once upon a time, if you missed the 5 o'clock news, You missed the news. You missed bad news that day.
Yeah.
But like we flew into London last week. You think about hard times. You think about what that city went through, what all of Europe went through during the wars.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about just hard times. The world.
Yeah.
You know, I know a family, and they recently lost a child to cancer, and it was a hard, long battle. And what they went through in their little household was more of a nightmare than, 99.99% of this world.
It's perspective.
It's perspective. And I think it's just trying to spread positive vibes, you know. I have my political thoughts on things, but I don't talk about them too much. I'm like, why am I going to waste my words on politicians when I don't know them really?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. My thing is I always say, I stole this from who did I steal this quote from? That's the deal. You steal a quote and you forget where you got it.
Well, if I forget who to give credit to, I'm just going to use it. Give credit to somebody.
But it was like, I'm neither for the left wing or the right wing. I like the whole bird.
That's right.
And that's a
That's a great saying.
It's sad that bad things happen it's sad to think that, we need somebody to come over here and bomb us to unite us
together.
Like for real.
Yeah.
Like, how about we just go, let's just forget about the bomb.
Right.
And let's just,
Yeah, and again, not to get too political, because I've got a follow-up question to one of the things, but it's a point where it's been so good for so long, right?
Oh, yeah.
That we create these, it's hard and it's divided. And yes, like those things are real, but like you said, imagine living in Berlin, right, post World War II. Imagine living in
Haiti right now.
Yeah. Right now. Yeah. Imagine living in places in Central America and Africa. I mean, again, our perspective is so off, and that's what's hard to watch sometimes. If we have so many people, we talk about it quite a bit, is so many people that haven't left their little bubble, that you just create all this negativity because you're bored, because you know what you say the quote all the time, right? Like, hard times create tough men create good times create soft men men create bad times. Right.
Well, it happens like in the Bible.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. It's like Israel, the Jews were suppressed. They finally are devoted to God.
They fall back.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah.
You see it in boxing all the time.
Yeah.
You see McGregor do it.
Yeah.
Man, he had the eye of the tiger.
On top of the world.
Yeah, and then he started, he starts making headlines. He's getting in fights at bars at night. And I'm like, bro, you should have been getting in bed early so you could be training the next morning.
That's right.
But it's the nature of us.
Yeah.
I've done it. And I have to slap myself and go, whoa, you better get after it.
That's right.
You got to, and that's where it's like I'm kind of in that phase right now where there's a bunch of these new young bucks in this music scene. And I'm like, I'm going to have to show them how it's done.
But is that inspiration for you? I mean, do you look at it as, because it sounds like within our conversation, it sounds like you're inspired by obstacles. You're inspired by things that push you, like someone closes the door on you. Well, you give a damn. I'm going to fight through this.
Yeah.
Is that what inspires you, to see those young guys coming up now?
I think when I was a young guy, the older guys inspired me. And now that I'm, the older guy, these younger guys, I mean, I think that's where I like competition. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that, if you're going to beat me 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 times in a foot race, but if it's a long distance race, you're probably still going to beat me, but I'm not going to stop till dude ran till he died.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing. It's just be like, it's like I've told my boys, there was a bigger kid picking on one of my boys, and I was like, here's the deal. I go, you can't back down.
That's right.
I said, so here's what you're going to do. I said, you might get your billy whipped.
Right.
I go, but you better make sure after that fight, that
knows
big guy's
he-
like,
yeah.
that wasn't worth the time.
I ain't going back for more of that.
No.
Yeah.
Because it make it risky for the big boy.
Yeah.
Because I've whipped a couple of big boys, and it's one of those things where it's like, big boys they don't. Here's the deal: if you get one shot on the big boy and you're the little guy, hey,
It's a W.
just make his nose. Hey,
Make
here's
his
the deal:
nose bleed. Yeah.
just make his nose bleed.
Yeah.
Just make his nose bleed. He might beat you black and blue.
Right.
Just if you can just get his nose to bleed.
Yeah. He knows he was in something.
He knows he's got to go to the principal's office.
That's right.
With and that's where I told him, I was like, you gotta have that fight in all things. Which their mama doesn't always like the advice.
Yeah. What's your daddy?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
But you know what it's like, though. I just had this conversation with my wife the other day. My wife's Tiffany. Name's Tiffany, by the way.
Hi, Tiffany.
Great friends with this one over there. And they probably think, no, I think this one's a little more thuggish than mine. But the mindset is, like, we know what it's like to be in the playground with boys, right? And nothing's fair in those playgrounds. So if you don't equip your kids with some skills to say, hey, look, the bully pushed you around yesterday, and I tell my kids, all my kids, hey, just walk into class the next day and just slap his ass right in the mouth.
Yeah. He'll never do it again.
Even if the teacher tells you to get out of the room, send you to prison, I got you. Don't worry about it. But handle it.
Hey guys, hope you are enjoying this conversation with Aaron Watson. If you are watching on YouTube, you can tell we are not in our studio. We are actually up at Choctaw doing this interview as Aaron was playing the night that we recorded. And I got to tell you guys, we were blown away by the new renovation and expansion. We had seen it while it was under construction, but that was our first time seeing it in person, all completed, and it far exceeded expectations. It is amazing what they've done up there. You have to get yourself up there to Choctaw Casino and Resort. This weekend on the 2nd, they've got Santana performing. And as we were talking to Aaron, he even mentioned in the episode that Choctaw is one of his favorite places to perform anywhere in the country due to its intimate feel for the artist. So it's a great venue, a great opportunity to go up there and check out, like I said, Santana this weekend. We absolutely loved our time at Choctaw. We're very appreciative of them and their partnership with us, and look forward to many more times and opportunities to go up there this fall. So get yourself up to Choctaw Casino and Resort. Now back to the episode.
Handle it. I've told my boys very similar things. I'm like, listen, you get kicked out of school, I'll go pick you up. Right. We'll go out for ice cream. Because the thing about it is that you just can't. You've got to, because they're going to experience those kind of things for the rest of their lives.
That's right.
And
it's going to keep going unless you do something to stop it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the thing with a lot of people will say, well, maybe you should walk away. And I think there's a fine line. You got to understand like the situation, but with those bullies, they're just gonna keep coming. They're gonna keep stealing your lunch money every day, and so talking about mamas, like both boys had football games yesterday. Jake is a corner and a receiver, and Jack is a fullback and linebacker. Little brother's pretty
big old boy.
Jack,
that's this former fullback right there. Yeah. He kind of perked up when you said it.
I might need you to give Jack some
anytime
because Jack broke his arm. He broke his arm in football last year, and we had to. I told him we were going to change the story a little bit because he was backpedaling doing one of the drills. Yeah, and he slipped back and broke his arm. Oh. And I said, no, don't tell people you're doing that. He was a big guy.
Yeah.
Y'all on the goal line.
You brought it.
You brought it.
Yeah.
That was actually the play after you broke your arm.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the play afterwards. And but Jake, Jake's on the right side, and he gets a lot of those little passes thrown out over the middle where he just kind of leaves him hanging out in no man's land, or the little pass where he goes in and he comes out.
Yeah.
And like the whole place
knows
it, and you
yeah.
see guys licking their chops.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, oh, and I'm like, you all right? Oh, and I'm like, oh, and then when he scores a touchdown, she's just like, I'm like, no, if you're gonna go, you girl, you gotta act crazy. When
You got to lose it.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm like, whoa, you okay?
There better be popcorn thrown 4 rows back.
Yeah.
Oh man, but it's fun, and it's just life lessons, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good, you know, with using, you know, I think it was Larry Walker that just got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and he said he doesn't call it winning and losing; he calls it winning and learning. I thought that was pretty neat in his speech. But man, I use my losses as a, you know, it's like, I mean, you know, I've had bad dad moments where I've lost my cool on my boys, never on my baby girl.
Of course not.
No way.
She could stab me in the leg with a knife, and I'm like, baby, that's hurt steady. That's not.
Why you pull it out?
Yeah, I have told her a few times lately. I'm like, listen, I love you, girl. I love you, and I never want you to get married. I want you to be mine the rest of my life.
Right.
I go, I want you to be mine for forever.
Right.
And I'm just telling you, you keep acting like you're acting right now, no man will ever, ever. You're going to be that lady with lots of cats throwing fits like that, girl.
Girl, you could live in the house behind me.
Yeah. You ain't even living in this house. I told you that.
No, you and your cats back.
I'm allergic to cats, girl. You and the cats.
So before talking about family, you talked about that period, and you started really on, and what, 99 was like your year where you really got into
kind of getting started. Yeah, trying to get the ball rolling. It was slow.
So, and then it was late 2000s when started. I mean, it was a 8, 10. I know in Fence Post you talk about 10 years, right? One of his lines in it is, right, I was an overnight sensation.
About 15.
In just over 10 years, right?
Yeah.
The line in the song,
Yeah.
which I love that. But so 15 years of just.
Yeah, I became an overnight sensation in just over 10 years.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear about is
Yeah,
what does it even look like? What does a day look like when you're trying to make it in country or in music in general?
You spent that time, and you mentioned that it was like, hey, we weren't even trying, and we made a number one hit.
Yeah.
So what was that motivation like during that 15-year grind where you're playing at honky tonks and you're playing at bars and you're booking your own shows and I'm assuming you probably don't have a big bus at the beginning of the deal.
No,
putting
I
it
had
all
a little
together.
band.
So what's that mindset? And that was a great question, by the way. I want you to go back to Ben's, but what's that mindset for that 15 years? Is like, okay, hey, my goal is this, or I just love what I'm doing.
It's the same thing for y'all. If you had a bad game, man, you sitting there in the locker room afterwards and you're down, but then you wake up the next morning and you're ready to go again.
That's right.
Yep.
It's a very similar feeling where I can remember playing shows. I remember playing at this place in Dallas. A lot of artists love that, like that place. This place means something to them. Adair's. That place means nothing to me. I played there so many times to nobody.
Right.
I've got buddies that like, man, I just love going back to Adair's. I'm like, you out of your mind. I don't ever want to even see that place again. Yeah. But I remember after a show at Adair's, there was nobody. And this place is a small little dump. And it's iconic. They got great burgers. And the people there were always sweet to me. But I can remember going out back and just sitting on the curb after a show going, oh, man, that was rough. People didn't care. Because, music is one of those things like, man, if you're writing a song, if you're singing someone a song about like, loss, heartache, and you're kind of bearing your soul, and you got people acting like drunks and they don't care,
Oh, right. Yeah.
you can take it personal real easy. But it was I look back on it now, I think ignorance is bliss, but it's also that like I believed in myself. I enjoyed it. You know, I was traveling around with my friends. You know, I could feel the momentum building. I believed in what I tell people is every day I was doing that, I thought tomorrow was going to be the big day. So I just kept doing it. I just kept chasing that.
That's good.
And then one day I turned around and it's like, I still have people say, well, do you think you'll ever like make it? And I said, well, I don't know what your definition of make it is. I go,
got a bus, a boat.
Yeah, I got it all. Man, dude.
Doing all right.
I'm doing all right. Got this ranch. We live in Buffalo Gap, Texas, and I'm telling you, my house in Buffalo Gap, Texas it probably cost 10 times less than what it costs, in the DFW area. Right. But the house I grew up in is smaller than my garage. And I still, I got an old Jeep, and I'll drive that old Jeep and I'll pull up, as the sun's setting. You see that house? That's stone house, stone.
Right.
And I got this big barn, stone barn. And my kids are in there always playing basketball. And, they got all their stuff in there. And I go, wow, this all came from a song.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's where but at the same time, when this pandemic hit, my wife was so concerned because literally within a couple of weeks, I had over 100-something shows canceled. Just the bottom. Yeah. My stock dropped. Yeah. Every business in America dropped.
Yeah.
Well, man, my stock dropped. And she was so worried about it. And I was like, well, first of all, I go, luckily for you, there's a reason why I don't tell you about most of the money I make. Right. Because you're a thief. A thief in the night. A thief in the night. I said, so there's a reason. Like, I've been smart. There's a reason why I don't tell you things. And I'm just like, just hide that.
Yeah.
Ooh, God, don't know.
Yeah.
She's sniffing.
Yeah. I'm going to bury that here.
No Dolce today.
Yeah. You hear, I come in with money in my bag and you hear.
But like Louis to me, Louis Vuitton to me.
Yeah. That Louis guy. What a jerk.
That Lois Whitten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I got an idea. Let's make these. And here's the deal. Here's the deal with those stupid purses.
Hey, you by yourself. You by yourself here.
Hey, this is independent thought. This is independent opinion.
I'm going.
This does not reflect the Darren Woodson show.
I'm going there.
Go in by yourself.
Because the company. Here's the deal. They can't say nothing to me because I own stock.
I own part of you.
I own that company. I own part of that company. It's in the closet. But I could understand if it was like tooled leather.
Right.
Craftsmanship.
Your Tiff she's just sighing over
I'm not wrong. Here's the deal. So we go to we're in London. And she said, hey, there's this store I really want to go to. And I'm like, okay. First of all, there's some like 10-story. What's the crazy fancy place?
Yeah, what's that store?
It's got everything under the sun.
Everything.
Food in London.
Yeah, what's that called?
It is amazing.
Not like Gilbert's or it's something like that. Yeah.
Anyways, we were there. We go there all day. And she's like, there's this other store. I go, we were at that other store.
Right.
That has everything. They had everything. And so we wait in line in the rain. This is before the pandemic, but they only let
so many people
6 people in at a time. It's I'm afraid my West Texan is going to come out, but it's spelled like Goward. Goyardy. Guyard.
We're going to go with Goyardi.
Let's go with that one.
Hey,
Whatever.
I'm from the same place you are. I have no idea what
You
you're
sure
talking
you're
about.
pronouncing the G in this?
Oh, well, let me just tell you about
It's
this.
Goyardi.
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 So here's the deal. It's I go in there and it's just me and all these cute little Asian ladies. And I was like, what's going on in here? Like what is this? What is Oh, these are so big. These are so it's like here Louis down here. Louis.
Oh. Louis bottom shelf.
Oh, wow.
Goyard, whatever.
Yo Yarde.
Goyardi. And this guy's trying to sell me these, and I'm more impressed that there's this guy that not only is speaking English, but then he'd go over and he could speak. I don't know if it was Chinese or Japanese because, we don't have that foreign language option in West Texas.
Right.
But I remember him talking to me, and then he'd go over there, and I'd be like, well, that's pretty impressive.
Right.
I am very impressed. And he and my wife are talking about these purses, and they look at me, and they said, which one do you like the most? And I said, I don't like either of them.
Wrong answer.
These aren't nice-looking purses. Like, I'm just being honest. So, she gets a couple of them, and then so literally a couple of days ago, she has one on the counter. And I said, is that thing we bought in London? She goes, this one isn't. I go, you bought another one? She goes, it's a fake, and I bought it from Sarah.
So why did we buy?
And that's exactly what I said. I said, so hold up. You got real ones? You got real ones in the closet.
That you don't use.
And you're using the fake one? Like, this is nothing against, this is more somebody, ladies, please explain that to me.
Darren, you had these kind of conversations before?
My mouth is shut. I'm not saying a damn thing.
You should have heard all the things he was saying off air.
Off air.
Only reason Aaron brought this up is because Darren was talking about
boy,
it.
he was going
I
off.
told you you're going by yourself on this one. Boy, this is a big one.
This is a dude that has the LV print on every backpack that
Oh,
he has.
please. But
I think he's got like a leather wristband that he paid like $5,000
I do
for.
feel your pain, though.
Hey, here's the deal. Hey,
I do.
when you got 3 rings,
Yeah.
you have any backpack you want,
Yeah.
bro.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Because I'm right there with you. We've been to Italy a few times, and I sit there and look at the prices, and I'm like, that's a.
It's tax free.
Oh,
That's what in Italy, in Milan, she got
Oh,
one.
yes.
It's tax free.
we walked in and like full out arguments. Full out. I'm not buying that shit. You crazy? That's like a Bentley.
Yeah.
I don't even buy a Bentley back home.
So I got this old Jeep, and I love this old Jeep. It's 20-something years old, and I like it because I can take it to the ranch, and if I run a tree up the side of it, I'm not like, and it's a standard, and I'm teaching my boys to drive on it, and Jolie soon. But one day I'm in the garage, and it's like click, click, and I'm like, oh, dang it. And it was just the battery. But she goes, hey, why don't you just go down there and buy you a new one? And I said, a new Jeep? She goes, just go buy you a new one. I go, I just want to thank you for your generosity.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me do that. I appreciate
I was like,
that.
if you'd have said, hey, I'm going to stop spending money like it grows on a tree, and I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to buy you a Jeep using the money that I'm working so hard for.
You know what? You need to do a song.
Yeah.
You're writing a song right in front of us right now. You're writing
Hey.
this damn song, but you're using
right
us
now.
right now. to
Get
write
some
your song.
paper. Get some paper. We'll be your co-writers
Yeah.
here.
But I was like, or I could just go get a new battery.
Yeah. Hey, you're talking to a species that wears the same workout shirt for 9 years and refuses to get rid of that workout shirt.
Yeah.
Because I like it. It's fun.
Because I like it.
Why would I get rid of a car when I could spend $87 on a new battery?
Oh, man. It's like, I love the old Jeep. The old Jeeps are, but, it's fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, it's funny. My boys are kind of the same way. Well, Jack, we were talking off air about when we played in Stad.
You're right.
Stad. In Switzerland, all the cars pulling up, and I'm like, whoa, I'm like, oh man, in Buffalo Gap, Texas, you see a Corvette, and it's like, oh my God.
We made it.
He must be from
1982
Midland.
Corvette.
He must have oil money.
82 Corvette. Oil money. But it's
Bright
like
yellow too, probably.
Yeah, but I was asking Jack one day what his favorite cars were, and he was like, Dad, the car I want, I either want this, like, I saw this 1980 something Mustang 5.0, or I like this the Bugatti something something. And I was like,
Couldn't pick two more opposite.
so one cost $3,500, and one of them cost $3.5 million. I said, I like that 5.0.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's achievable.
Nice.
And
And so guess what? We can work on it together. That's father-son time.
That's right. But you know what? What's funny is that analogy of those two cars, that should be life.
Yeah.
You should have achievable dreams, but also always have your eye on.
That's right.
But don't. But also be thankful.
Exactly.
Be thankful if you have that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Yeah. Well, someone did want to ask you, as you were talking about your house and, the ranch, and you love where you are, and your house you grew up in was the size of your garage.
Yeah.
And something I always ask Darren and Tyler, and something we always bounce around is, how are we going to, for lack of a better term, harden our kids or keep them with that perspective? Because they're growing up in a different environment than you did.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you do that? How do you approach keeping them humble?
I'm a nasty boss.
I love it.
I am. I mean, I'm nasty. I mean, it's I had coaches growing up that were nasty with us. I don't think coaches can be like that even in the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
There's no way.
It's babysitting.
Right.
And you see it. I mean, it's like coach says something now and players are all getting upset. And I'm like, man, my high school coach talked to me worse than that.
I mean, I had a college coach tell me to commit suicide because I was taking everybody's oxygen. Wow. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Exactly.
It's so different. I mean, he goes, you got two choices: kill yourself or go play women's soccer. You ain't doing what you're doing now. And I was like, you talk about that sitting outside of the bar. I'm like,
And the thing about it is
that
that would offend some people, but they don't understand.
yeah.
This isn't, you weren't playing, two below football. You're going to war out on that football field, and you got to be tough. And that's the same way, man. I'm with my boys. Like I make them work, and I don't pay them because you know why? This is their family. Like I've pulled them aside and say, hey, you should, all this yard work, all the stuff we're doing at the ranch, you're doing this for me so that I don't have to do this all by myself.
Right.
And then it just put it into perspective, and that's where it's just, I'm a nasty boss with them. And sometimes I get too nasty. And it's me being able to come back and go, hey, I love you. I'm hard on you because I love you. Because I don't want you to be lazy. I want you to be hungry. I want you to work hard in life. As like, this is tough love. I tell them, I don't always know that I'm doing this right.
Right.
But you gotta be.
Yeah. That's my fear. Like my fear is that if I'm not going to be tough on them, the real world will be tough. Like, and the real world doesn't care. They don't love you. Like I love you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a jerk.
But you love them.
But I love you.
Yeah.
Get out there, they don't care. They
No.
care less. And I want to go back to something we talked about a little earlier. You're talking about your kids. When was it in your lifetime? How old were you when you said, I got this gift to sing, and I want to pursue this? What age were you when you knew and had the confidence to get up and sing in front of people?
Well, I remember when I was about 18, I was starting to sing along with the radio, and I've always loved music. My dad has a great vinyl record collection, and I remember thinking, hey, I can sing some of this stuff, all right. It took me 2 or 3 years to get, I mean, I'm telling you, I was nervous. I was scared to death. Get up. It did not come natural to me at all.
You were 20, 21, 22 when you started? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I was scared to death.
Do you remember the first?
Yeah. Well, my first show was in Clyde, Texas.
There you go.
You know the Pizza
Bulldogs,
House?
baby.
You know the Pizza House?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there's this Pizza House in Clyde, and we got asked to play the Widows and Widowers Convention of Abilene. Widows and Widowers of Abilene.
Sounds like a riot.
Little club.
I'm about to laugh.
I feel like those widows and widowers.
Well, let me just tell you.
Alternate motives.
Let me just tell you. Hey, this says something.
Bring us together, Aaron.
This says something, though. Hey, this says something about something, and I'm not going to say what that something is. But there were no widowers. They're just a bunch of little old ladies.
Yeah.
We kick off first, boys. That's at the end of the day, it's like at some point they put that final nail in the coffin. We're done. I mean, I remember going, "Where's all the old men?"
Right.
And I learned a lesson that day.
Right.
So, but I remember we started playing, and it was too loud, and they were all holding their ears.
No way.
We had to turn it all the way down. Then the drummer, by the time it was just me,
It's just you singing acoustic.
But I remember we played this place in downtown Abilene. It's not there anymore, and it was packed. And the kids were going crazy, and I thought, hey, this is fun. You know, it's kind of like, you know, if you've been in a situation, you know, probably when y'all first got in the league, you were playing to not mess up, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden one day you turn around and you go, oh, I'm having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when when you can be dangerous.
Everything slows down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, I think that's where, you know, I started going, hey, I like this. And I also too, there was always this something inside of me that I wanted to have a job that would give me the opportunity to take care of my mom and my dad. I think that was a big thing for me. And, you know, they took such good care of me growing up. I mean, my dad's 100% disabled, like I was telling y'all earlier. And he was a custodian at our church. And I share that a lot with my kids, but I had a pretty, I guess I would call it a career defining moment, probably when I was 12. And this is probably a good thing to tell. We were talking about how do we prepare our kids, not make them spoiled and lazy. But we cleaned our church growing up, and all my buddies were going swimming, and literally right across the street from our church was the Amarillo Swim Club, the big pool where all the kids hung out in the summer. And all my buddies were there, and I'm across the street, and my dad and I were cleaning toilets.
Wow.
And I remember I had on the yellow gloves, and I am complaining, just being a little turd 12-year-old, and I'm just complaining and complaining and complaining. And I remember my dad poked his head around the stall, and he's on his knees, right? And he goes, hey. And I turned around, he goes, do you think that I enjoy cleaning these toilets? He goes, you know what? He said, when I was your age, this is not what my dream was. He said, but you know, I went to war. I got drafted. I served my country. He said, I almost died. He goes, but somehow I'm still alive today, and God has blessed me with a wonderful family, and he's blessed me with this job. He said, so you can bet that when we walk out of this bathroom, these are going to be the cleanest toilets in town.
Man.
And it hit me. And I said, I'm sorry, you know, and I mean, I'm sure I cried or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that forever changed me. And it's kind of like years later, I read the Martin Luther King Jr. quote about the street sweeper. Do y'all know that one?
What's that one? Tell us that.
It's I'm not going to be able to tell it word for word, but it's the street sweeper quote. And it's where Martin Luther King Jr. says to the street sweeper, you make sure that you sweep these streets so good that if Jesus comes walking down that street, he says, man, these streets had a mighty fine street sweeper.
Right.
And it's just whatever you're doing, whether you're writing your name, whether you're cleaning toilets. And I do that with the boys. Like when I got home Sunday night from Stade, Switzerland, they were supposed to, the yard work, the jobs I gave them, I could tell where they got sloppy. We went out there and I was like, you got sloppy. Do a good job. Do a good job the first time. And I think it's just not cutting them any slack, but also just the way my dad could have just like got onto me and whipped me. But instead he just like grabbed my heart.
Right.
You know, it changed me.
Your dad just grabbed my heart, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And here's the deal. I'm all stopped up. My allergies are going crazy because yesterday, after Dad and I ran around town, I mowed their yard, you know, and here I am. I'm a grown man.
Right. Right.
And, you know, I'm sure I could pay somebody to mow my mom and dad's yard. That's my job. I need to go over there and mow my mom and dad's yard, you know, and we waited way too long to mow that yard this time. Dad likes to mow it, so he'll be like, I'm going to mow it. I'm like, okay. Well, y'all might ought to come over here. And I'm like, oh, now that it's 4 foot tall. Oh, you bet, Dad.
And one of the things that I feel like kids these days, you know, because everybody has a landscaper, everybody like mowing yards, but being a push mower with a bag. Oof. I mean,
that's how I do it.
You can't, And I did until
labor
until we got a little bit bigger. That'd take me 3 days.
Yeah, 4 acres would be a little tough with a push mower.
But man, that's something that's so important for kids. I mean, to do that stuff.
Just they got to work. They got to work.
Yeah. That's what. And you know, I'm the same way. You know, we could pay somebody to mow our yard, but I'm the same mentality. I'm like, no, I want them to see me actually struggle. Yeah, because it's one thing to go to work all day, but they don't see me there. Yeah, they don't see how the work I put in there. Yeah, they need to see me actually struggle at home.
And that's kind of like, you know, when the pandemic hit, that was part of my plan. I was like, I don't know how long this is going to last. I said, I've talked to some of the booking people, and they said we may not work for another year and a half. Yeah. I said, so we're going to plan for the worst. And I said, and it's going to be fine. Yeah. I said, I'm going to figure out other ways to make money. And I said, we're going to do all our own work. I said, we're going to take care of everything. I was like, you know, we had someone that would always come clean the house for mama, you know, and luckily for us, the lady that was cleaning, we didn't have to let her go because she was like, I ain't going to nobody's house. Right. You know, and but we took over everything and we worked and we worked and we worked, and I did all kinds of things, Zoom concerts, you know, I mean, I put on the hustle. I would handwrite lyrics. I still do it. I buy these canvases, these hardback canvases. I think they're probably 50 cents a canvas. And I will write my lyrics, the chorus of a song on there. And I bet I did nearly 1,000 of those. Really? It sucked. Right. Felt like schoolwork, sitting there. Started putting on reading glasses. Started putting on reading glasses because my eyes were, but you just find a way. And I just showed them. I said, we're going to find a way.
I love that.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Yeah. Oh, you go ahead. I was just saying, talk to us about I don't even the simple. Well, it's not simple at all. But I don't even know like what's the inspiration for songwriting. How do you even go about that?
That's where I was.
How do you come up with your lyrics?
I love writing songs. It's my favorite thing, and I'm always writing. And I like waking up in the morning, making some coffee. And it just kind of depends on the mood that I'm in. You know, it's like we actually just put out a song today called Crash Landing. And I don't know what kind of depressed, pissed off mood I was in when I wrote that. But I was, and so I wrote it. You know, it's like that was the mood that I was in. So it's just like, it's like for a painter, I'm sure painters, they don't want to always be painting, you know, sunrises and pretty landscapes. Man, sometimes maybe they want to paint a thunderstorm. And but I'm always looking for that, like a good hook. Yeah. And then finding that melody. And you know, a lot of these writers today, every song has 4 or 5 writers. But for me, I don't really have time for all that. So a lot of times I'm the only writer. Really? Yeah.
You ever wrote a song and you knew it was for someone else?
Oh yeah, like I'll pretend. Like I'll write a song kind of pretending that I'm writing for someone else. You know, whether they sing it or not. Whether they get it, I'll never know. You know, what I know when I'm writing that song that they'll probably never sing it. But sometimes that's an inspiration. Like I've wrote songs before, pretending like I'm writing a song for one of my heroes. You know, so I mean the one we just put out today, Crash Landing, it kind of has like this Rolling Stones kind of thing going on. So it's just whatever mood I'm in, I just write. So I truly love to write, though. Writing is that's the part of the business that I'm like, man, it's interesting when you think about it. Like writing a song, there's not too many things that you can create from nothing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's kind of it's kind of like a true like gift from God. Like you're making something from nothing. Like that's when I said earlier, like I got this ranch and this house and everything I got it with a song. Like it's a song. Like it kind of just is something that floats. You can't see it really.
Right.
It kind of just floats out there.
Okay, so I got it. So you're writing a song, right? Are you putting the music behind it at the same time? Are you hearing the music behind it? Or are you reaching out to your band to say, hey, I need to hear it this way? Or it's kind of weird. I feel like it all kind of is coming together. And then sometimes like I'll have like a very elementary melody that I'm kind of working off of. And then after I finish it, I'll be like, I need this song needs a little more diversity. This song needs more dynamics.
Pizzazz, I think is the word.
Yeah, pizzazz.
Yeah.
Flair. Pizzazz.
Yes.
We don't say pizzazz in West Texas.
Yeah. I've never said pizzazz. And hey, boys. All right, here's what we need. In the huddle. All right, boys.
Did you put on these rhinestone jackets? And
yeah, you're in the huddle. You're like, boys, we're a little flat. Fourth quarter.
Right.
We need some pizzazz.
They're like, what the?
Here's the deal. You want to earn more sparkles for your helmet.
Sparkles.
I don't know.
Anyways. So in your career, you mentioned you played in, almost, have you played in every state now?
No, I haven't played like in Delaware.
Oh.
Some of those.
Is there some animosity there?
No, I don't know that they've heard of country music.
That's a good point. So, but you played in a ton of places. Is there a show that sticks out in your mind? And maybe you already mentioned it with the widows and widowers of
That was a good one.
But that sticks out in your mind. You're like, gosh, that was wild. Whether it's like a crazy scenario or like, I can't believe that I'm here playing this. Like that sticks out in your mind is like, gosh, that one sticks out above the rest.
Yeah, I mean, playing the Houston Rodeo was pretty.
You did a live album there on that, right? Yeah.
That was pretty amazing. I don't know how many people, 70,000 people or whatever.
Yeah.
That was kind of frightening, actually. It was a you're walking into that place and there's just people
everywhere.
You're like, and it's kind of weird because you're playing in the middle of the rodeo arena. They're far away. It was weird.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, gosh, playing this summer at the Cheyenne Frontiers Day Rodeo, that was amazing. That's my second time to play there. The first time we played there was with Kiss.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was fun. Gene Simmons. He actually requested that we open for him.
Oh, really? Man.
Yeah, which was cool. And I remember I went backstage to meet him, and he put his arm around me, and he said, well, you're a powerful young man.
Wait a minute.
He says pizzazz for sure.
Hold up.
And I was like this. I'm like, nice to meet you, sir. And I was like,
he's awkwardly tall, too.
And then he put his arm around me, and I felt his hand. I thought he was fixing a fish with me.
I just feel around for a little bit.
I felt it out there, and I was like,
Gene Simmons, the one with the
big tongue. Yeah, the long tongue.
oh, yeah.
He's tall. He's tall, too, isn't he?
Not only is he tall, but he
He's
wears
really
those
tall.
boots that have
That also is why,
9-inch.
yeah.
Those are definitely go yard for sure.
those are
Boots.
go yardy.
Doesn't he own Go Yardies? Doesn't he own the book? Doesn't he own Kiss's book altogether?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, though, they put on a show. That was so much fun.
That's an odd match for the Cheyenne Rodeo, though.
It was an odd match. It was odd.
Did they come out with the
They were fire, and it was
really?
it was crazy.
Pizzazz, the whole nine.
Yeah, but you know what's really wild is I bring up those big shows, but it's not based on attendance or the venue. There are some places we'll go play some little small place, and it doesn't hardly hold anybody, but it'll be packed, and you're like, man, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. I think, you know, it's like, you know, we're playing a casino tonight, a nice showroom.
Which we can mention, by the way, because they're good partners of ours.
Awesome.
Choctaw Casino
Choctaw
Resorts.
Casino.
They're awesome.
They are awesome. They've been so good to me for so long.
Good. Yeah, they're same to us, man. They've been
Awesome.
great.
Yeah, they're great people. They've been employing me for a long time.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like every night is different. Like we're playing this tonight, and then tomorrow we're playing the Big Spring Rodeo. I think that's one thing that I love about my job is every night's different. Different house, different people. But it's truly kind of like they say it's not the church building, it's the people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my shows, man. It's not really about the place, it's about the people, you know. And
Well, that's the interesting about music is, you know, get back to your songwriting. Like, it's so powerful. Music is, and you know, we played football and we were entertaining for 3 hours, but then people forget about it. A song though, you can think back to when you were 10 years old and that song that got you through whatever. Yeah. And so you literally have that power when you're sitting down writing on your pad. I'm affecting thousands of people.
It's
with these
really
words.
a special thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really realized it for a long time. You know, when you're in your 20s, you know, you're not thinking about a lot of meaningful things.
Right.
You know, you don't have that. You haven't lived long enough to understand that. But as you start to experience things in life, you go, oh man, this is a great responsibility. And I think that's for me with music is that as I'm writing songs now, I'm thinking that way. You know, I'm thinking, oh man, this is such a great opportunity to make music with meaning.
Right.
And I get just emails and things all the time from people that will tell me that this song meant something to them.
Yeah.
And you're just like, man, that's better than selling, you know, millions and millions of records. I mean, for me, I'm so incredibly simple. I truly, I am so simple. And it's probably the way I was raised. But like when this pandemic hit, you know, I mean, I wasn't worried. I mean, I've obviously, for me, I kind of, financially speaking, from day one, you know, when it's hard to make a buck for half your life, when you start making some bucks, I didn't treat that like that was going to keep happening. I was like, we paying the house off, we paying this off, we doing this because
Never know.
This thing's going to come to an end someday. And I mean, I always was kind of like, it's going to hit the fan someday. But at the same time, I was like, hey, I was like, you know what? Sell this big house, make some money on it, buy us a little farmhouse. I never talked about selling the ranch.
You gonna hold on?
No, never brought that up.
Yeah, that was no. Selling purses
Because you gotta. We'll sell purses.
I will sell purses all day.
Girl, you can wait some tables. She was. I remember her talking about. But one thing we did something fun. We grew a garden.
Yeah.
And we would have fun, and we would make entire meals based upon what we grew and what we caught. Yeah. So
What you caught?
Yeah, like catching, fishing.
Okay, all right.
But also too, I mean, like the boys and I, we like to go bow hunting.
Yes.
And so I do a lot of bow hunting. So I was like, man, Mom, I hope you like eating wild hog.
That's a little gristly.
Yeah, a little. But
that's awesome.
Go out there. We'd have, I tell the boys, I was like, all right, we're going to wake up in the morning. We're going to catch some catfish. You know, we're going to pick stuff from the garden, and that's going to be our entire meal that night.
Right.
And it kind of gave them like, oh, wow. I think that's given them a good.
What's that connection?
Yeah.
Well, we were literally talking about this the other day. Is like, what happens if it hits the fan? Like, we went through the pandemic, but what if it goes even worse, right?
Yeah.
How many people in our country could do that?
Yeah. I tell people talk about, buy gold. I'm like, man, ain't no, what's a bar of gold going to get you?
Right.
Eggs. Eggs will get you something.
You throw it at somebody that's trying to steal your chickens?
Yeah. I was like, you want chickens? And I got chickens. Oh, I got chickens. I'm always like, you know what? Here's the thing. I was like, 22 bullets and eggs. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. Because you can trade somebody, be like, hey, I got a dozen eggs. We need this.
Right.
Or but it's funny. It's funny the conversations we've had with the pandemic. But it's I think just those kind of experiences with the boys. I don't really have the little girl thing figured out that well. I don't really know what I'm doing at all. She railroads me pretty good.
Yeah.
And she's really sweet. She's so sweet, actually. I'm in a real bad.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
I'm in a very vulnerable situation.
I think you're
here.
buying purses now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of purses, is one day she goes, Dad, I want a little purse. I want just like this little purse. I was like, your mom's got thousands of purses. Come on. We go in there, and she literally has one of these little Louis Vuitton purses. She's got all kinds of Louis Vuitton purses. I mean, you might grab one Louis Vuitton purse, and there's like purses stacked inside of purses.
One of those little Russian
Like
deals that just keep on stacking them.
And I said, you know what? You can have this purse.
Oh, you did.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did, man.
And she went in there. She went in there, and she had all her stuff in there. And Kim goes, where did you get that purse? I go, oh, she got it at the purse store in your closet.
In your closet.
Thing had dust on it. Yeah.
How was that conversation after? Did that go well?
I don't even know. 'Cause that's when I usually go out and get on the tractor.
Yeah, thank you.
You gotta get some yard work done.
Yeah, get some yard work.
Oh, tractor's call. Tractor's calling my name.
Do your kids sing your songs?
They do.
They do.
It's pretty neat. I'll hear them listening to me sometimes. My daughter sings a lot. She can sing. Gosh, she sings like a bird. She's soulful.
Is she?
She doesn't have like a country voice. She can sing. She I don't know what her style is, but she's got more like soul.
Yeah. Huh.
Like she's got this vibrato, and she does all the
Oh, really?
Mariah Carey kind of like, whoa, girl. And my oldest boy, Jake, he plays the guitar like a grown man.
Really?
There's nothing he
Did you
can't
introduce
play.
it to him early?
Yeah.
When were you introduced to the guitar?
really not till I was probably 19, 20.
Wow.
I
picked it up, huh?
I just picked it up. I just never was around it. Didn't have the opportunity.
Man, isn't Aaron Watson awesome? We are loving this discussion with him. Hope you guys are as well. I want to take another quick break to thank our other sponsor for the podcast. Super excited about this one. Brand new partnership with Sleep Number. That's right. The official sleep partner of the Dallas Cowboys is also now the official sleep partner of the Darren Woodson Show. And if you're anything like me, 2 young kids at home, sleep is hard to come by. And you know how hard the next day is after a night of little to no sleep. And that's what Sleep Number has done with their new Sleep Number 360 smart beds. They are trying to improve every aspect and do everything they can to help you improve your sleep. We got our own customized mattresses a few weeks ago, custom fitting at least. We haven't got the mattresses yet, but we are super excited to get those in and can't wait to get a better night's sleep. Again, they can't control my kids, but they sure can control the mattress that I sleep on. And so we are super excited for this partnership. We have a lot of great content coming for you guys by way of, I'll tease it for you here. We'll call them Wellness Wednesdays that we've partnered with Sleep Number with. A lot of great tips coming up on how you can improve not only your sleep, but your overall wellness. So again, super fortunate, super grateful to Sleep Number for partnering with us. Super thankful to you guys for your constant support. And we appreciate you. Go get yourself involved at sleepnumber.com. Now back to our conversation with Aaron Watson.
And my middle boy, Jack's the one. Sometimes I'm like, listen, he's got that middle child thing where it's like, you got your cute little sister who can sing. You got your big brother who, you know, he's turning into a dude, and the girls are liking him and this and that. And then you got the middle brother, Jack, and he's good at a lot of things, and he's smart. And I'm like, dude, you're the one. You're the one that's going to make all the money. I go, you're the one. And then, but Jack, Kim's always worried about Jack because he's I'm just worried about him because of his confidence. And last night, after the football game, he didn't get to play a lot. He broke his arm first season last year, and I feel like he kind of just doesn't understand that he's strong. He's got some speed. He just doesn't have the confidence. And I'm like, dude, get after it. And he didn't get to play a lot. And Kim was like, I'm just worried about his confidence. I go, you did notice that the cutest cheerleader on the squad apparently did not care that he did not get a lot of playing time. Because she was like, Jack. They're getting it's his little girlfriend. I was like,
yeah,
He's going to be just
all
fine.
good. He'll be
so that's the thing. The cheerleaders, they don't know.
Right.
They're facing the crowd.
Right.
How much football did y'all watch when you cheered? Huh? A lot, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, rah, ree.
Yeah, you guys did so good. We got
did
blown
so
out.
good. Oh, you played so good.
All right, so on to the song thing. Is there a song that you've written that it's like, okay, that's my favorite? Like I'm so proud of that. And if my legacy is remembered by one song, this is the one that I would put out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime I've written a song, like there's a new song that'll come out on the record this next summer. It's called The Old Man Said. I'm really proud of that song. And so anytime I write a song, the newest song sometimes is kind of the one that has my heart at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, The Old Man Said is a song that my oldest boy, Jake, was born on March the 6th. And this old man that I was really good friends with named Pete Pugh, Mr. Pete, Pete died the day before Jake was born. And that week, Pete called me up, and he had me come over to the house, and he wanted to talk to me about what it means to be a dad. And, oh, man, it tore me up. I tried to be tough listening to him. Boy, I remember going out there and getting in my truck and just bawling. And I started writing this song later that week, The Old Man Said. And it literally took me, Jake's 15 now. It took me 15 years to get it right.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I would mess with it. So I'm proud about that one. That one pulls on your heartstrings. But I'd have to say there's a song, there's a song called July in Cheyenne.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
That one's special to me personally. Before we were rolling the cameras, I was telling y'all that our fourth baby, Julia Grace, she passed away shortly after she was born. And, I mean, I held her in my arms as she slipped away. And, man, it really, it rocked my boat pretty hard. And I wasn't mad at God or anything. It just rocked my boat. It broke my heart. And, boy, I struggled getting back up on that stage and acting like I cared.
Right.
It was a weird deal. Like, everybody's having fun. And I'm like, I'm not real good. Like, kind of what you see is what you get. I have a real hard time turning it on when I'm in a bad mood. I'm like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I don't feel like that's authentic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's kind of how I am with social media. You know, it's like, you know, if my buddy wrote a song, a love song, and it says, if you want to hear a love song, girl, you better show me some love. I was like, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I like that.
Right.
I've used that quote. It doesn't work. Girl, you want a love song? You better show me some love. It doesn't work.
No.
Doesn't work at all. But July in Cheyenne, I didn't write that song for anyone except for this older couple, Clyde and Elsie Frost. Clyde and Elsie are the parents of legendary bull rider Lane Frost. And hearing them share their testimony, Miss Elsie sharing her testimony about losing her son, it really got me focused on the bigger picture. And I tell the story every night at every show. I literally cannot sing the song without telling the story, because that's the thing is people need to hear the story. And I just basically keep it simple. I let them know that Elsie shared her heartache with me. And that, and I tell them, Elsie said that Lane was a world champion bull rider, but that wasn't his greatest achievement. She said that Lane's greatest achievement came a year before he died, when he asked Jesus to be his Lord and Savior. And that made me go, okay, that's right. It's more than what's happening right here, right now on this earth. And I tell the crowd, I say, hey, I'm sharing my heartache with you, because you never know. You guys, there might be someone out there in the crowd tonight that's just hanging on by a thread.
Right. Yeah.
I got an email after we played the Cheyenne Frontiers Day Rodeo, and it was from a veteran. And I have these couple of parts of my show that are very important, where I talk about just giving thanks to the men and women that serve our country, and also the talk, just talking, sharing my faith. And he thanked me for that. He said that he was taking his wife out for one last date. He said he was planning on committing suicide the next day. And he said that my words opened his eyes. And it wasn't my words. That was just God using me as a way to just make him go, oh, I'm needed. I need to be here. So that's that kind of deal where I feel like when I get on stage every night, it needs to be a positive experience. And that's where, you know, it's been kind of a struggle to some of these shows since the pandemic. You went from playing these huge, massive shows to everything's been kind of, you know, it's kind of been squished.
Right.
And even like tonight, I mean, I know the last time we played this place, it was packed to the rafters, and the floor was full. And I don't know what it's going to be like tonight. We go back to places we used to play that were packed, and it's not like it used to be. Right. And I have to literally tell myself on stage, dude, this is not about you. You got to get up there tonight. There could be somebody out there in that crowd that needs a good time, needs some. So, you know,
That's awesome.
but that song's always That one's a special one to me.
That's awesome.
But I didn't write it for me. I didn't write it for the fans. I just wrote it as a gift to give Elsie and Clyde Frost. And then I played it for the first time. You know, it was at the San Antonio Rodeo Cowboy Church. They asked me to sing some songs. And like out of nowhere, I thought, I'm going to sing that song. I remember I messed it up. And I was like, oh, I messed up the song. Like as I'm singing, and I was like, oh, God, I just messed up the song. And I went, wait, no one's ever heard it before.
Right.
So act like you didn't mess up the song.
Play it
They
play
don't
it cool,
know.
play it cool.
You just messed up the song. And I was like, oh, they don't know the song.
I'll say this is you've already created a gift in the song Diamonds and Daughters, because that will likely be the song that I danced to my oldest daughter with at our wedding in she's 9, so 30,
she's
38
30,
years.
yeah.
38 years from now.
Yeah.
So again, that gift that a song is timeless.
Yeah.
So it's going to mean just as much 40 years from now.
Yeah.
So
when
you'll
my
love
daughter
this.
gets married.
Yeah, when she's 50.
Yes.
When she's 50.
Yeah.
When she finds a man that will love
Her and her cats.
and her cat.
Yes.
So I wrote that song, The Underdog, for my boys. And when Jolie Kate found out, she heard an interview where I talked about writing that song for the boys. She was like, I want a song that's just mine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then that's where I got the concept of what if I could write a song for the dads and daughters out there. So, and I'm working on another version of that song. We're going to put it out that has a little less drums.
Yeah.
We got in there and got to rocking at the end, kind of got a little Beatles-ish on it. So we're going to make more of a dialed back version.
Okay.
So we'll have options for you.
All right. I like it.
But I get the neatest
Yeah. She loves
emails.
It.
The girls just, I just wanted to write that sweet song. It's made for little girls. That song's made for little girls, but it's also like, I think when a woman is getting married, they're kind of little girls.
Yeah.
That's that like,
Especially for that one moment
that
when
one moment.
their dad comes out and dances with them.
oh, they're daddy's little girl
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Now my wife's dad.
All right, now you're already
Yeah,
there.
dude, you got a
there.
hole with your wife
I'll
here.
stay buried. See, that's the deal. You just stay buried.
No
Your
expectations.
are 6 feet under.
Yeah. You're hidden if you're buried. No, here's what happens when you're buried. It's like, she's like, hey, the girls are wanting to go back to Round Top. You girls know about Round Top?
Oh, yeah.
They're wanting to go back to Round Top. When can I go? And I was like, and I literally don't. I'm like, I don't care. Whenever, I mean, I make sure that I can get away with murder,
Right.
because I've earned it.
Right. Oh, you paid it forward.
Yeah.
Just little
Well-
deposits here and there.
You got me some good advice here, brother, and you don't even know it.
Here's the deal. It's kind of hard. She doesn't want to bury me.
Right.
She didn't want to do that. She needs me working.
Yeah, she needs you to go out there.
She needs me working. You don't want to bury the old mule,
Right.
because then you'd have to pull the
Yeah,
plow.
then you got to till the field.
Yeah. You just throw an apple out there
But
to him every
Kim
once
is
in a
the
while.
smartest person in the world.
Oh, she is.
In
Yeah.
the world.
I'm just
we're all the
like-
same. We're all
Yeah,
the same. We're
yeah.
the dumbest and they're the
Yeah,
smartest.
I'm just a mule. Just a mule. But she's like, when can we go? And I was like, whenever. I was like, I'm a good stay-at-home mama.
Right.
I got it down. She'll go somewhere for a week, and I'll be like, I'm not trying to be rude,
Right.
but I'm good at this.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to go.
Yeah. Girl, you kind of, it's funny. The boys are getting to an age where like here's after Jake's football game last week, we played in Sweetwater. You remember Sweetwater Stadium, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Man, what a great stadium.
Yeah, great
All
stadium.
concrete
Classic.
bowl.
Yeah.
Man, it's so cool that the smaller schools, the middle schools get to play in the high school series.
Yeah.
So they're not playing back behind the, it's cool they get that experience. But Jake, the oldest boy, was playing, and dude, it was a legit game. It was like 34-28. It was something crazy. Whatever the score was, there was a safety. There was all kinds. It was a crazy score. But they drove down with like a minute left, like 70 yards to see a freshman team, JV team, drive down and score to win it was awesome. Man. But we're on the drive home. He's tired. He's also kind of amped up. You can see he's just, and he's a 15-year-old boy. She goes, okay, Jake, as soon as we get home, put up the chickens. Something you don't hear every day. Put up the chickens, go straight in, take a shower, get in bed. He goes, yes, ma'am. She goes, don't get on your phone. Don't get your school computer in there and stay up for 30, 45 minutes. And he's like, yes, ma'am. Because 2 nights ago, and he starts giving a little attitude to her. And she goes, and I looked at her and I went,
well, what do you expect?
He has said, yes, ma'am, kindly 3 times. And see, little brother Jack, he's a little more like me.
A little fiery.
He's like, Dad, Mom's acting like Karen over here. And I'm like, oh
my God.
I'm like, I know what you're doing.
You're sweet. You're beautiful.
Maybe I don't agree with him.
I don't side with him.
At this point, I'm kind of like,
Oh, boy.
you can't.
Oh, man. Well,
She acting like Karen. You can't. Text me.
you can't say that out loud.
They're right next to
We gotta say that. We gotta
Text me.
laugh about this together.
I'll be like,
behind her back.
yeah, is Karen. No, her real name is Karen. But the boys, it's fun. But I've had these talks with the lady. I was like, they're your baby boys, but you can't just. They're starting to become dudes. I'm like, you can't just be like whack, whack. I'm like, and I'm seeing it with my daughter too. I'm having to
keep your hands.
woo.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, girl, have your space. If I hear, she's in there and I can hear her in the shower, and she's got Olivia Rodrigo playing loud. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm staying away from this room.
Right.
She's on one now.
Jolie's into like heartbreak songs. I mean, you never had a boyfriend.
Oh man.
I've got a drama queen.
Well, we are gonna pray for you on that.
Oh boy,
for sure.
Oh man,
for sure.
Let me tell you about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you about these boys though. What's gonna happen? And your dad. And right now they're at that, 15, and what's the other?
15, 13.
15, 13, and they're coming into this zone. They're like, that's my dad.
Yeah.
They're riding their carts around trucks, we're chasing chickens, doing all that crazy shit,
Yeah.
going fishing and all that. They get about 19, and something good's going to happen. I don't know, one of them maybe catch the touchdown ball for state championship game, and they're going to catch this ball, and the news is going to, the media's going to get in front of them. They put that mic in front of them, and he's going to say, I want to thank my mom. And you're not going to be anywhere in sight, brother. I'm telling you, all the things that you've done.
You're like, whoa. You gonna think what? Well, I have no doubt I tell the boys, they're like, well, you let Jolie, you let her do anything. I go, I know.
Yeah.
I go, because the moment y'all leave and you meet some cute little thing, I don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
I'm done.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah.
I go, but that little girl, when I'm in the old folks' home after church on Sundays, she'll bring me some fried chicken.
That's right. Yeah.
I go, that's the reason why. Right. I go, this is not about love. I want to eat someday.
But I mean, really on a more sentimental level, it's how she sees men treating her and her mom as the expectations she has for a husband. So like, I'm hard on you guys because you guys need to be able to work and provide and be resilient and all that. I'm showing her what a husband looks like.
Yeah.
And that's what she needs to see. So, I mean, So boys, shut up and get back to work.
Yeah. And she also sees how her mom treats me.
Yeah.
So she's just falling right in line.
There you go.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, but they're fun. Kids are so fun. And they grow up so fast.
They do, man.
It's these, I don't know if it's a 4-year, I think it's like a 4-year increment, I feel. It's like 4 years ago, I had a 5th grader, a 4th grader, and a 1st grader. And now 4 years from now, I'm going to have a kid in college, a senior, and a freshman. It's these 4-year increments that make you go,
wow,
what happened?
And Jake, the oldest, literally a year ago looked like a little boy. And now, I mean, he's a
dude.
He's a dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I get messages on Instagram from like women, like, does Jake have an Instagram account? And I'm like,
oh man.
Hey, Cougar, chill.
That's a song for you, man.
how old are you, girl?
Yeah.
DMs.
And I'm like, she's
IG
8.
DMs.
I was like, that, I don't remember 18, 17-year-olds looking like that. That
You look
woman's
30.
40. That's a 40-year-old woman.
How old is you?
Yeah.
16.
But isn't
sir.
that true?
You look
though,
30.
man? That is so true. That's a song. That's a song for you.
Oh, it is a
He's
song.
a dude.
He's a dude.
He's a dude. Like, I went through the same thing. I saw my son. It was probably about 15, 16. And I was like, he bowed up once. He bowed up. And I came home and I was like, and I saw me, though. That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
Is I saw when he did DJ, my oldest, when he did it, I was like, yeah, damn, dude, that's me.
Yeah.
Like, he said some of the similar things that I would say.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah. So he's a dude.
He's a dude.
He's a dude.
And it's tough. I'm trying to respect that.
Yeah.
And there's a Bible verse about not exasperating your children, pushing them too far. I'm having to understand now, like, I used to pester the boys and fight with them, and the boys, I mean, if they would fight, we have boxing gloves and the headgear. I mean, I got some of the greatest videos. I'll get y'all's number.
Yeah.
And I'll send y'all videos. There's nothing more amazing. We'd go out in the garage, and I just had a fold out chair, and I'd just sit there and be like, ding,
Ding dong.
ding.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a 7 and a 4-year-old. At what age can I start these fight clubs in my garage with my boys? Because I'm
ready.
all in on it.
They're
All
ready.
in. They're ready.
They're
Problem
ready right
is,
now.
my 4-year-old, I'm not sure. He may take the 7-year-old already.
Yeah, Jack. So Jack, the little one, whoops the fire out of his big brother. And it's usually when it goes to the floor, and I'm like, no hammers.
Right.
Because Jack starts doing this thing, and I'm like, no hammers.
Wow.
No hammers. But what's great is you can get those gloves that are so poofy.
Yeah, the 16 ouncers. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, they're poofy gloves.
Yeah.
And then they've got the headgear.
Yeah.
With the plastic mask in the front, they can wail on each other. No uppercuts. I'm like, no, that's the only deal. No hammers.
No night-nighters.
No uppercuts. Yeah, no night-nighters. They get after it. Oh, I have fun with the boys. Oh, I have some fun with when they have all their friends come over. I grow a bunch of peppers. And we'll get peppers out. I've got a bunch of these Tabascos, and they're pretty hot. And we'll get each one of them, and we'll line them up. They're all brave. I'm like, y'all ready to do this? First time, hey, I acted like I was putting one in mine. I was just like, and they're all, man, I watched them chew it, and I was like, you can't spit it out. And you just see their faces. Several of them just jumped in the swimming pool, and they're just like drinking up pool water. Right? They were in the water with their mouths open.
Right.
I mean, boys.
Darren, I'll say what you're thinking. That's white people stuff right there.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey.
man. No.
It is.
Yeah.
So my wife, though, she was like, I can eat anything hot. And I was like, we're not talking about Abuelo's girl.
Right.
I grew some of those.
bacon wrapped stuffed jalapeno.
Yeah, I had some of those the Carolina Reapers. Have you heard of those?
I've heard of them. Never had one, but I heard of them.
Well, she's like, I can eat one of those. And so I remember looking on YouTube, and there's this old Mexican man, and he looked like he's 150 years old. And if any man looked like he could eat peppers, it looks like
It'd be that guy.
that old
Yeah.
vaquero.
Yeah.
He eats one of those Carolina Reapers, and he just starts crying. And I remember going, whoa. And Kim's like, I can eat that. And I wanted to let her.
Right. I'm surprised, knowing your caveman self, I'm surprised you didn't do it.
I was like, Jesus may not let me in heaven. Because
Murder my wife.
yeah.
That would
I'm
be
like,
classified as thou shalt not murder.
She was talking smack. She said she could. So
Did you grow this pepper though?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you grew it too. Oh man.
Oh yeah. And I let her eat one of the Tabascos. The Tabascos are amazing peppers. I take them and I dice them up real fine, and then I mix them in the eggs, and they're amazing. And they're not hot like that. I mean, there's a little kick to them, but not hot. But if you chew one up,
It'll get you. Yeah.
it'll get you.
So what's the point of growing a Carolina Reaper? Who's going to eat it?
I don't know. I don't know why I did it. When I was growing them,
It sounded like a great idea.
I think we always make hot sauce. I think I was thinking, I wonder what hot sauce would taste like with one of these in there. But we usually just use the jalapenos or the habaneros. But I thought, wonder what a Carolina Reaper would taste like.
It makes sense. That makes sense.
But we never used it. We cut one. We cut them in a couple of different little slices, and then I real quickly just dabbed one on my tongue.
That was it, huh?
I can't even imagine chewing on that thing. I think it would have. I wouldn't have survived.
It like disintegrated the plate that was.
Oh, it was ridiculous. But we have some fun. We have fun. The kids.
Yeah.
It's I'm a pretty good entertainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl parties aren't as fun. Girl parties are not fun. They watch the worst shows ever, and they're all there's so many of them. And the girl parties are, the boy parties I get to participate and have fun.
Yeah.
The girl parties, I'm just a servant.
Right. Just bringing things in and
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Like,
familiar?
Yeah.
like they're the girls are all in the hot tub, and they're like, Dad, can you play this music, and can you make us all snow cones?
Milkshakes, snow cones.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay.
The little Carolina Reaper in there.
Yeah.
Anything for you, baby.
You like
girl.
a little Carolina Reaper snow cone. Yeah, but it's fun. Boy, the kids are so fun, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you what, we could go for hours. We know you got to run here.
Hey,
before long.
anytime y'all want to do it again,
Yes.
I'm game.
We've
We'll,
got to.
we'll come out to you. We'll come out
So
to Abilene.
here's what would be a lot of fun. And here in the next 9 months, we're building a little ranch house at the ranch, little 3-bedroom. So y'all, when I'll get y'all my number, and when that's done, y'all come out there and stay. There's also this bed and breakfast. Girls, look it up, Perini Ranch.
Oh, hey,
You know, y'all know Perini Ranch. But have you ever stayed at the bed and breakfast?
I have not.
It's amazing.
Is it good?
But yeah, between that and the ranch house, we could do this. We'll
See,
have
I'm
fun.
trying to. He's not so sure about anything west of what?
Have you
Dallas?
ever been to Fort Worth?
I've been to Fort Worth, man. I've been through Abilene before. I've been to Midland a number of times.
You have. You've
Got
been
good
out,
friends
yeah.
in Midland.
Unpaid?
Yeah.
No, well, we got some good things going on in Midland. There's some good things going on in West Texas for
Takes
me.
money.
yeah.
Takes money to
Hey,
go to
man,
Midland.
hey, I love West Texas.
We'll
as a
take you out
matter
there
of
and
fact.
show you
Hired
good
by that guy that drives the 92 Corvette, the yellow one.
Yeah, the 92 yellow Corvette. Oh yeah.
Hey, no, I'm serious. I'm thinking a video here. Take him out to your ranch.
Yes.
Get
Go
some
fishing.
chickens. Go
Yeah.
fishing.
Go fishing.
Do some bow hunting. Oh,
Heck
that'd be-
yeah.
that'd be
Yeah.
sweet.
Oh, for real. Oh, you'd love it. I love going out there. It's, Buffalo Gap's I feel like it's kind of like the beginning of the hill country.
Yeah.
Gets out
Oh,
there.
does it get hilly out
Yeah,
there?
it's
Does it?
got
It's
hills
bit.
out
It's funny.
there.
There's like probably 130 towns in Texas that claim that we're the
Yeah,
the
we're the
gateway to
beginning.
the hill country.
We're the beginning of the hill country. But it's a neat little
yeah.
place. It's a neat, like the ranch has hills on it, and It's so fun. We have a ton of fun out there. Yeah. Oh, we'll have fun.
All right.
Love it.
I'm gonna hold you to it too.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, I don't. You didn't have to hold me to nothing. I'm like, let's go.
All right,
Let's do it.
All right, we got one more. I'm gonna give you your last question.
Yeah, the final question we ask every guest this.
Okay.
This is more back to your journey or just thinking back on your life. If you could go back to any point and just tell yourself one thing, doesn't necessarily mean you change anything, but if you just go back and tell yourself one thing, where do you go and what do you tell yourself?
As far as my job, I probably wouldn't tell me nothing because you just gotta enjoy the journey. I wouldn't tell myself anything. As far as life, it's been interesting. You know, I was riding around with my dad yesterday, and I was looking at him going, when did my daddy turn into an old man? You know, I think if you spent every waking moment with your parents, you still are going to wish you could have spent more with them. You know, I think, though, there's some things now that I'm like, man, I got real busy. But it's just part of growing up, and you have to find your own path. But, you know, I think maybe there's some of that. But I'm making the most of it now, you know, and that's the thing is, but I don't know. I don't know that I tell myself anything. I mean, it's, you know, we're all, you know, I try to just not be so hard on myself. When we all make mistakes, and that's just the kind of the problem with this world today is, man, at the same time we're telling everybody to be so accepting of everybody. We sure are hard on anybody when they make mistakes.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a bit of a contradiction. And so I don't know that I tell myself anything. I might just go, hey, good luck, buddy.
Right. Yeah.
I might go, good luck.
Yeah. Keep your head up, bud.
Yeah.
Save yourself.
Good luck.
I love it.
Man,
Well, we
really
appreciate
it,
it,
man.
man. You taking
Dude,
some
you've
time.
been
I know you're
awesome, brother.
You guys
Hey,
are great, man. I
yeah.
appreciate y'all.
thank you.
We are looking forward to the show tonight, man. We're,
Oh, yeah.
we're pumped. So
We'll be the shirtless guys. Spin our, you said you were worried if
A on my chest and a W on his.
Hey, you want to talk about we talk about what can just kill the vibe of a show? Man,
don't tell us, we'll do it.
There's those crowds where you just got like, we get up there and it's just all girls, and I'm like, that's so fun.
Right.
That's so fun. But then there'll be those shows and it'll be like 5 guys right in front of me, and I'm like,
Singing the song.
Singing about heartbreak to
song.
to Billy Bob here.
Swaying
yeah.
to you.
Keep singing it, Aaron.
Dancing your music with a bunch of pizzazz.
Yeah, that guy had
Go
way
Yard
too much
handbag.
pizzazz.
To the Go Yard.
The Go Yard handbag over the shoulder.
handbag.
The Go Yard Merce.
Oh yeah,